When a man opens the door of his car for his wife, you can be sure of one thing. Either the car is new or the wife is. Nothing says being heterosexual like hating your wife. Special thanks to CJ, Nix, Marigi, L, Howland Requiem, Holly Miller, Karen Duca, Kaorian Mori, Kapachi, and Sarah Bear for supporting the channel and supporting my content. Thank you so much, guys. There's so many names now. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. Today, we are returning to Are the Straights Okay? Spoiler alert, probably not. But, you know, 'tis the season to be jolly and all that, so maybe I'll be surprised. It's Christmas, right? What could possibly go wrong? Let's take a look, shall we? Speaking of Christmas, you can no longer walk through the Christmas children's section of a bookstore with your kids without being bombarded with inappropriate content featured by staff who want to make people read it. What is the leftist obsession with sexualizing children's content? And why does there have to be a leftist agenda to everything, everywhere, all the time? Well, you heard it here first, everybody. It's now sexualizing children's content to have a character married, which means that Santa's wife, Mrs. Claus, is no longer allowed. No, because that's sexualizing content to children. So there you go. The right have now banned Santa's wife, because if him having a husband is sexualizing, then so is him having a wife. Working for the husband, kid, and family.
Stop the oppressive patriarchy.
Working as a cog in a machine for boss she hates.
Much better. Now I can dedicate my life to making company's number go up.
Before we carry on with what else this guy has to say, you can already tell from this post that this guy is probably single and blames feminism for the fact. But I also want to address the fact that when have you ever seen someone actively fighting against the patriarchy, actively fighting for women's rights and to bring in equality for workers? When have you ever seen someone like that who actively advocates for current capitalism? You don't. This is a straw man, because any of the women currently fighting for these things are probably also fighting to solve the current corrupt capitalist states we have. So the argument kind of falls flat in that regard. He carries on with, oh boy, quite the essay. How did society convince so many women that being a cog in a machine is better than raising a family? It didn't. The women decided that they would rather have money than children. Modern society is demasculinizing men, masculinizing women, and destroying the family. No, it's not. People that want families still have families. Feminism has unambiguously failed. It has made motherhood taboo and destroyed real divine femininity. On top of that, it has encouraged creating a false, divisive relationship with men. The Western belief that the relationship between men and women is one of power, oppression, and domination is terrible for both men and women. Actually, it's only terrible for the women who felt that they couldn't escape marriages, couldn't say no to their husband for sex, and had to do everything their husband told them to do, which, funnily enough, they don't, because they are human beings. And feminism has not made motherhood a taboo. If motherhood was a taboo, we wouldn't still be seeing an increase in population. There are still currently more people being born every day than people dying. So motherhood clearly isn't a taboo, because there are still mothers. Men and women aren't meant to compete, but complement each other. The family is the foundation of any good society, which requires both strong men and women. And we are giving women the strength? Like, men and women aren't meant to compete with each other. Okay, well, I mean, that depends. Esports? Pretty sure they're competing with each other there. We need a new path forward for women. Women are encouraged to replace motherhood with a soul-sucking job. High-paying job women on SSRIs are skyrocketing and taking antidepressants at twice the rate of men. Women can't find strong fathers. Women cannot embrace their true femininity. Women are single, lost, and resort to hedonism to find meaning. This isn't the problem of women, okay? Women are not encouraged to replace motherhood with a soul-sucking job. The fact that people can't support a family without both parents having jobs is the issue. You can't support a family with one working person anymore. anymore. That just doesn't work out. When wages are too low to support anybody that is lower or middle class trying to get by to the point where both parents have to work, you can't blame a parent for working in that state. I believe a huge reason why women are struggling today is because they are not in tune with their divine feminine nature, a product of modern society's newly concocted expectations. Many women are putting a career over building a family, and that's great if you want to be single forever, but the challenge is that when they hit their 30s, there won't be the high status men available like they expect. If a woman's doing great in her career and she chooses that over finding a relationship early in her life, just because she's got a good career doesn't mean she's no longer eligible for partners. Like, working a job that doesn't speak to who you truly are slowly kills your soul. Yeah, and it's doing it to men as well. Like, what's your point? And it has an even bigger impact on women who are much more attuned to energy. Oh, okay, that's what we're going in that direction. Energy. Women should never be forced to work a job they hate. Nobody should. Pushing them to do so is the beginning of the end. This is not to say that women shouldn't work. It is to say that it isn't a bad thing to derive more fulfillment from exclusively focus on being a mother instead. But if they don't want to be a mother or don't feel fulfilled by having a child, then that's a null plus point, because not everybody is going to feel fulfilled in being a parent. Why do you think so many parents abandon or abuse their children? Having a baby and raising a strong kid is 100 times more fulfilling and important than becoming a manager at some worthless corporation. There is nothing more beautiful than a mother who fully embraces her divine feminine nature and lets it shine forth to raise the most powerful, creative, and loving forces of the universe. This ignores the fact that there are jobs that a woman can pursue that are not just being a cog in a machine, that isn't just being the manager for a corporation. For example, what if a woman becomes a scientist and finds the cure for X number of cancers, or solves our energy crisis, or solves global warming, or does X number of things that she couldn't do if she chose to raise a child full time? There are plenty of jobs women can take that they don't have to just be a cog in the machine for. The things he's talking about, the things he's claiming that feminism has killed, still exist, and the reason that no women want to sleep with you, OP, whoever made this post, is just because you're not a very nice person and you want to force your views onto women who don't agree with your views. It's not feminism if a woman just says, I don't really agree with what you're saying. That's just her being a human with autonomy. The fact that you have pronouns at your age, grow up, sir. Tell me you dropped out of school without telling me you dropped out of school when you don't even know what pronouns are. He, she, they are all pronouns. If you're a guy, you use pronouns because you use he. If you're a girl, you use pronouns because you use she. If you are non-binary, you use pronouns. You use they, them. They're all pronouns. Everybody uses them. I kind of like the idea that this person is actually really progressive without realizing it, right? Because this person, they're advocating for a genderless world, okay? Imagine a world where there are no he, hims, there are no she, hers. Everybody is genderless. There is no longer transphobia. There is no longer homophobia, because there is no being gay. There is no being trans, because everything is genderless. Anybody loves everybody. There is no, you can't marry this person because the law says so, because there is no gender. That's what this person is advocating for without realizing it. They are advocating for the perfect future. Maybe that's just the pansexual in me talking though. The non-binary pansexual in me.
I'm here to find out if I'm having a male predator or a female victim.
You can already tell just from reading that statement, from nothing else. I don't have to try and find out who drew this. You can tell that this is a man, and you can tell that because he's using a straw man argument that no one has made, and he's using that argument because he believes this is the reason that he can't find a woman. He believes that women hate men, and that's why he's single. He can't possibly look inwards and realize, hey, maybe I'm just an incel. No, it's the women that are the problem. This is a mood. Me with my girl. Me with other women. Bro, if you aren't happy with your partner, break up with them. It's not... How is this a concept people don't understand, okay? If you're with someone and they don't make you happy, then don't be with them. You don't have to be with someone just because one day you became partners. That doesn't mean you are permanently together if you are no longer happy together. If she isn't making you happy and you're not happy with her and you would rather spend time with other people, break up with her. And then you don't have to be unhappy with her. This shouldn't be a concept I have to explain. And on that night, little George became a man. Ugh. Can we just go back to the earlier post of stop sexualizing children? Stop it. The same people that constantly go on about how the left are sexualizing children will constantly sexualize children. They'll say things like this. They'll put t-shirts on their kids that say ladies man or future lady killer. It's just gross. Like, stop. Like, stop complaining about things that are not sexualizing children and not being sexual in front of children, and start complaining about the things that actually are. Like this. Non-binary is not a thing. Her sibling is a female and will always be. What is wrong with people nowadays? We're about to get an English lesson from a guy who can't spell. Lol, her pronouns is she, her, not they, them. As if we are referring to a group of people. This person's trying to talk grammar here. Her pronouns is? No, it's her pronouns are. Their pronouns are. You want to act like you know the English language with people nowadays, sir? But that's not all, okay? Because this is fundamentally incorrect, this statement, on an actual English level, okay? And to prove my point, I went to 3 different sources, okay? So to start with, we have the Oxford Dictionary, which says used instead of he or she to refer to a person whose sex is not mentioned or not known. If anyone arrives late, they'll have to wait outside. Now, the Oxford Dictionary does also have an additional statement about non-binary people. It is used. However, I'm not even using that. I'm talking about they as a singular term, which does and has always existed. So there's one, Oxford Dictionary, okay? And then we have the Cambridge Dictionary, used to refer to a person whose gender or sex is not known or does not need to be mentioned, to avoid having to say he or she. There's someone on the phone for you. What do they want? Singular, okay? That's 2. That's Oxford and Cambridge. And just to round it up, I also went to Google and they also said used to refer to a person of unspecified gender. Ask a friend if they could help. So saying that they, them is exclusively plural is fundamentally and categorically incorrect on an English language standpoint. Why do I get the impression a lot of people on relationship advice type stuff think people should love their child less because it's not biologically theirs? Regardless of the nuance of the individual situations, I've seen so many posts where if the kid isn't OP's, people are immediately like, yeah, f that kid, it's not yours anymore. It's literally not his child, moron. So if you loved and raised a child and it turned out not to be yours genetically, that child means nothing to you anymore? Why does genetics matter as to whether or not you should love your kids? If I raised a child for 14 years, maybe. If I raised a child for 14 months, no value whatsoever. Why do genetics mean anything in raising a child? This is something I have never understood, okay? We live in a world where people are constantly having children and we're getting to a state of overpopulation. We also live in a world where every first world country has an orphan problem. I don't understand why nobody will adopt. Why does it matter if your child looks like you? What difference does that possibly make? At the end of the day, if you raise a child, you raised that child. It doesn't matter if that child came from your knob or not. You raised that child. You loved that child because you raised it. It doesn't matter where the child came from. And I don't understand how to so many people having to give birth to that child themselves, having to spawn that child themselves makes all the difference in whether they can or can't love a child. I don't understand that. There's this dude on TikTok named Blank who spent 2.5 years infiltrating the largest LGBT Discord ever, became the admin, then blocked every single member of the Discord and purged all the channels, finally deleting the Discord permanently. There's no way to restore it. This just sounds like a really, really sad and lonely person that had way too too much time over 2.5 years. What a waste of 2.5 years. Imagine really being that petty of a person. You have to burn 2.5 years of your life just to delete an LGBT Discord. Congratulations on being possibly the saddest person ever to live.
Is claiming to be gay a guilt-free ticket for people to get out of marriage?
Marriage is a contract. It's not acceptable to back out of the contract without any repercussions just because you don't feel straight anymore. This is triggering. Have a nice single life, dude. If I were you, I would find a lesbian married couple and get one of them to switch teams and become straight. Get your revenge. You absolutely can back out of a marriage because you're not straight. If you're married to a woman and you're a guy and you're gay, you probably shouldn't have married the woman in the first place. Marriage isn't some binding contract that means you are stuck with this person for the rest of your life. Because I have one word, and that word is divorce. If two people are married, regardless of gender and sexuality, if they decide the marriage isn't working, if one of them decides they don't love the other person anymore, they can call for a divorce. That's how divorces work. Because you can't trap two people in a marriage just because one of them wants to keep it going and the other doesn't. It only takes one person to want a divorce to have a divorce. When you tell a girl to shut up and she says, make me, does she want dick or a right hook? There's so much to unpack in this. First of all, if you are with someone, don't tell them to shut up. Like, if you are actually at a point with your partner that you would tell them to shut up and then consider hitting them if they quip back, why are you with that person? And more to the point, how do you end up with anyone? It's not hard to not date people that you are not happy with. I don't understand how you even end up dating someone you don't like. How does that happen? How do people get married to people they don't like? How do you date long enough knowing you don't like someone and then marry them? How does that happen? I don't understand how that happens. My life hasn't been the same since the accident. What accident? The one where I got my finger stuck in that wedding ring. So funny I forgot to laugh. See all of my earlier points. Some 14-year-old white girl. That's offensive towards minorities. Me, a straight white man in 2021.
I am the minority.
Don't be out here sullying Star Wars memes with your racism or homophobia. Leave Star Wars memes alone. Those are a sacred place. Second of all, how can you call yourself a minority when, give me just a second, what percent of the US is white? Oh, wow. 76%. 76% of the US, according to census.com, or according to Wikipedia, 72%. Does someone want to explain to me how 70% or over is the minority? I think you need to learn what minorities mean, straight white man. It's not even a good meme. Imagine being the vast majority and being like, man, it sucks being the minority. Nah, bro, you just have a persecution complex. And the final picture. British politician says replacing male heroes as women drives men to crime. British MP Nick Fletcher believes that popular media replacing male characters with female counterparts is pushing young men to commit crime. I will give you one guess what party Nick Fletcher is a member of. Go on, put that in the comments down below. I'll let you know if you're right. To anyone that isn't British, we have 3 primary parties. We have the Conservative Party, we have the Liberal Democrats, and we have Labour. We do have a few others like UKIP and Greenpeace, but those are much smaller. Go ahead and take a guess what party you think Nick Fletcher is a member of. You get one guess. And that's where I'm gonna end the video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. If you want to see more content like this, then, I don't know, leave a like, leave a comment, tell me you want to see more stuff like this. If you want to support me in making more content like this, then I have a Patreon in the description down below, or equally, you can click that join button to join the channel. It helps a lot more than you might realize. But by no means should you feel like you have to. I am going to keep making content regardless. Other than that, thank you so much, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.